Thank you so much.
Moses Kibalama is the founder of National Unity Platform, which was initially registered as the National Unity Reconciliation and Development Party. Kibalama and Robert Kyagulanyi, the current party president, later entered into an agreement where the party name was to be changed and leadership transferred. Not long after the official launch of the newly branded NUP, Kibalama allegedly turned around and claimed he had been promised some money in exchange for the registered party, but he had never been paid. Later, there were reports that Kibalama had disappeared and was said to be in the hands of security forces, who later dismissed the claims. On Friday, Kibalama told court that he was under duress when he made the statements, which indicated that he had sold his party to Bobi Wine. He alleged that he was intimidated by the Chief of Defense Forces, General David Muhoozi, but the army has rubbished his claims.
Namara okuwaba ku police okuteekayo ensonga zange nepitibwa mu ofisi ya CDF ng'ayagala okumanya insecurity ki gyenfesinze mu kitundu kyewange era insecurity eyo eva ku ki.
Cannot be correct at all. If the CDF wanted any information from anyone, he has offices that would naturally deal with this kind of thing. By his nature and training, the CDF is a lawyer who knows full implication of what it would mean to intimidate someone in your office. Therefore, he wouldn't do it. And this one I can emphatically say he couldn't have done so.
The army spokesperson says Kibalama requested to meet the CDF over his personal security long before news of his disappearance.
Indeed, I can say, first of all, we should note that indeed he met him. But what the point here to emphasize is that this was a request by Mr. Kibalama through an emissary. And actually, when Mr. Kibalama came in his company, there were other 4 people.
After Kibalama met the CDF over security concerns, did the army provide him with security?
Whether he was given security or what kind of security he did mention, because remember we don't know, he said security. Security doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be given a soldier or something like that. It could be along other lines, but all entailing security, yes. So I don't know.
When you heard that Kibalama had disappeared and yet earlier on he had met the CDF of still over security concerns, did the army look for Kibalama and did you find him?
If we had been called as a force to look for Mr. Kibalama, I'm sure we should have done so. And that's what I was also saying, that in the security sector we are different players. So in that scenario, the disappearance of Mr. Kibalama, because I'm saying that operations other than war, we are simply called. If we had been called to look for Mr. Kibalama, we would have done so. So in this case, perhaps they called police or other people, but not the army.
Don't you think this whole case of Kibalama puts the army in bad light when it comes to the politics of Uganda?
It doesn't mean that when you're a politician, the army can't talk to you because you're a politician, or that because at the end of the day, they are going to say that the army is now getting partisan. It would look funny if someone came and has concerns, and then you deny them that chance because they are politicians. I don't think that would be right.
I want to ask my colleagues in NUB if they didn't know that competing against Museveni can produce all crazy scenes. This is just one of them.
The participation of the armed forces in the management of political parties that are opposed to government is regrettable.
As the force that is supposed to be non-partisan and ahead of the 2021 elections, what are some of the lessons that you've learned from this Kibalama scenario?
That we also need to be very careful and cautious when we are dealing with people of this nature, especially the likes of Kibalama, who gives on oath, by the way, different statements. Today he says this, tomorrow he says that, tomorrow he says this, tomorrow he says that.
What message do you have for Mr. Kibalama?
I would just want to tell Mr. Kibalama, or to request him, and also people like him, to avoid dragging the army into these trivial things.
Dilbia Ruhanga, NTV.